Hey, what's up internet, and welcome back to another video I'm making. This one, as you can probably guess from the title with, reading comprehension, is going to be a glimpse into the two blankets I made for my parents as Parents' Day gifts. So a little context, backstory if you will. I have one blanket that is store-bought that I currently use. All of the blankets I own are quilts that my mom hand-sewed. She's done this since before I was born. She's always made quilts for herself, my dad, relatives. I forgot to mute my phone, but it's a hobby that she has, and it's a pretty freaking cool one. Like, it's really awesome watching these blankets come together. And it's because of that I realized I really enjoy when someone gives me a blanket as a gift. Especially if they put elbow grease into it, it means a lot to me, and who doesn't love to be cozy? Like, that's all blankets are for, is being cozy and wrapped up and warm. So, knowing that about myself, I kind of wondered if maybe my parents might feel the same way about getting a blanket from me. So, for Parents' Day, which is what I do for Mother's Day and Father's Day, I tend to forget the date. So, I just mush them together and say, ta da! It's your guys' day. Congrats. But for this year, I decided I was going to give them two blankets, one for each, in case you didn't know. I didn't realize though how hard the process actually was going to be. I've watched my mom do this my entire life. Like I said, she makes it look easy though. I was so naive. For one, the amount of cutting you have to do is wild. There's so much cutting, and I'm horrible at it. I thought it would be easy to cut this stuff. It's fabric, and I have a rolling razor blade of doom, and it's still hard. And then you go cut, sew, cut, sew, cut, sew, cut, sew, cut, sew. Every time you cut something, you sew it back together. You cut it again, then you sew it a different way. It's a lot. And I initially was following a pattern that I found online that was supposed to be super easy, good for beginners. But my brain was like, no, no, no. I'm going to change a few things. It'll be fine. It's not going to do anything bad. So let's turn this way. Let's do it this way. And then I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do from here because it no longer follows the pattern and those instructions can't help me anymore. I am in new territory. And yeah, I ended up having to go ask for additional help. But I couldn't ask my mom, who would have been my greatest resource. I was extremely lucky that the place I was getting the fabric from is Joann Fabrics, and the people there know so much. They are so kind and so knowledgeable and so wise. I went in a few times and they knew who I was. I walked in and one lady looked at me and she goes, "You're the one doing the weird blanket, huh?" And I was like, "Oh shit." "Yes, ma'am, I am. Hi, can you help me?" She's just like, "You want me to do more math?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing. Please help me." She goes, "Okay, bring it here." Oh, I bumped it. But yeah, she was really nice though. And she was so cool. Whenever I finished the blankets, I took the tops in to pick the backing. She asked me, she looked at me, she goes, "You're the one making the math blanket." And I was just like, oh gosh, that doesn't sound good. But yes, that would be me. Hi, how are you? And she goes, "How did it turn out?" I pulled it out of the bag. The amount, like, she was so cool. She was just like, "That turned out amazing. You did so good for your first time. Way to go. It looks so great." I felt so confident and proud in that moment because I've never received that kind of praise. I don't know what to do in that situation. I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go be shy in the aisles and find the backpack brick. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate it. So if you ever do a project like this and you get stuck, go to the craft store. Those people are amazing. They're just so helpful and kind. And I really appreciated them. And by now you've probably looked at the colors and you're like, this is a lot of color on the screen for these blankets. What the heck? There are two different color schemes, I promise. I really put some thought into what the blankets would look like color-wise. I kind of wanted them to be representative of my parents. Because that makes sense. They're blankets for them. Why not make the blankets for them? Not just stuff I'd find cool, because I like the pink cowboy frog fabric, but apparently that's not cool. But as you can see, there's a lot of rainbowy colors and some darker colors, and the pastels are actually for my mom's blanket. She really loves rainbows. You can ask her, "Hey, what's your favorite color?" And she'll go, "I don't have a favorite color. I like all the colors." because it's not fair to like just one. Okay then. If you ask my dad, hey, what's your favorite color? Blue. And it's just like, okay, cool. Thank you for your input. So my mom's blanket gets to be rainbow pastels because the more saturated colors kind of come off a little bit obnoxious sometimes if I don't do it right. This is my first blanket. I wasn't going to do it right with the saturated ones, but it's hard to mess up pastels. It really is. So, pastel rainbow for my mom, and my dad's blanket was darker colors featuring the dark blue. I also put dark green, some gray to like mix in there so it's not just boom, 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 dark colors all over. And I even put like an Easter egg in the blanket, but they didn't get it, and I was kind of sad. I did dark red because growing up, we had this big quilt that was dark red and black, and it had roses. It was the prettiest quilt I've ever seen. I loved this blanket. It was always the perfect temperature. It was so amazing. It was one that my mom made, I think, prior to my birth. I got to enjoy it as a small child. Yay. And I found a dark red fabric that just automatically, all I could think about was that quilt. So I was like, I gotta add that as well. That's why there's red in my dad's blanket, because I mostly remember like it being kind of my dad's. It was both in their blanket, but I remember my dad with it more, kind of a thing. Like I associate that color with him more than anything. So I thought, hey, they'll get it. They'll see this and they'll pick up the vibe and be like, cool, you made a rainbow one for me. He gets the darker colors, like the dark blue's his favorite color. The dark green has some outdoorsy stuff with it because he's an outdoorsy person. The gray is just, there. The gray was not symbolic of anything. And then the red Easter egg. And then with my mom's, she didn't just like, she's been really into, not rainbows, butterflies. Butterflies could be like flying rainbows, so that's a real long shot right there. Good gosh. But she also has been into butterflies for these past few years, and I mean like really into butterflies. Like we get butterfly fingernail things, butterfly phone case, butterfly like accessories. So I tried to find some fabric for her that had butterflies. I was so fortunate to find rainbow butterfly fabric. I was so excited. Like I found some and it fit the blanket theme. It was so cool, and it kind of like contrasted a little bit with the pastels because it is a darker, like more saturated rainbow fabric. So I thought it looked cool. It worked. Go me. Also go fabric makers who made the blanket. Like who actually made the fabrics. Thank you for that. So she's got butterflies, rainbow, dad's got dark colors, Easter eggs. Yes, I'm so proud. I thought when I give these blankets to them, they will know and be like, wow, you put some thought into this. Good job, creature. Thank you. That is not what happened. And not in a bad way. I'm not upset. It's just, it was like I bumped the mic again. I'm getting used to this microphone. It's a standing one. It's kind of cool. I get to wiggle. Anyways, back to the story. I delivered the blankets softly into their hands. So here you go, fodder. Enjoy your quiltiness, comfort, coziness, and think of me, the child that you have. Hello. They open their eyes, they look, and they're like, my dad goes, that's cool. Honestly, 10 out of 10, he has like 4 different responses for if you show him something, and that is one of them. I was not expecting anything else, to be quite honest. I can imagine something else, but like, it was never going to be anything different than one of those 4 phrases. I mean, what dad doesn't have more than 4 phrases? And then with my mom, that's who I was expecting the more from. But she looked at hers and she goes, ooh. And then she looked at my dad's. And then she looked at hers and she goes, they're girl colors and boy colors. I just wanted to be like, hold on, wait a second, time out, pause, right there, wait, back up. You are one of the only grown women that I know who viciously defends the fact that there is no gendered color. Like, if you give a little boy something pink and like the dad takes it away and goes, there's a girl color, she gets mad and she's like, there's no such thing, it's a color. I really should have muted my phone, but I didn't. But anyway, she gets mad, she gets upset when that happens. There is no such thing as girl and boy colors. So then why are the blankets girl and boy colors? I don't understand. But that's what she's seen, and I kind of was just like, what? What do you mean? How do you have girl and boy colors from this? And I was like, surely she like sees, hey, there's a rainbow, there are butterflies, and then dad has like deer heads and dogs and like outdoorsy things. Surely she'll be like, ah, yes, they are personalized for us. Nah. Which it's totally fine, by the way. Like, I'm making jokes and stuff, but I do just want to say, like, I lost my train of thought. Oh, got it. They are, like, those blankets are their blankets for them to enjoy however they want to enjoy them. If they want to burn the blanket, I would be sad, but it's their blanket now. So if they want to look at it and see, oh, these are girl colors, or oh, these are boy colors, and that's why it's mine, totally fine. It's theirs. They can enjoy it and, like, encounter it in their point of view, however they're going to do that. And I even tried to, like, show them, like, the back of my mom's blanket has some white fuzzy fabric with rainbow butterflies that I embroidered. I'm just going to point out the rainbow butterflies were already on the white fabric. I just used the thread and traced around it because I am not that good. I tried to do deer on my dad's because he likes to deer hunt, and the back was a grayish kind of heather gray. I got 2 deer heads, and then the what's it called? I don't know what it's called. It's that wooden hoop. I don't know if there's a word for it outside of wooden hoop, but my wooden hoop broke, and then I was using paper stencils, the outlines. I pinned a piece of paper to the blanket. I think it's a stencil, kind of. And I was using that, but the paper kept ripping and moving, and the deer were not looking like deer. They looked like not good. So I had to stop doing that. He had 2 deer heads, one in either corner, and then the rest just got to be kind of polka dots because my hoop broke. And I was like, I don't want to have to go buy another hoop. Which is kind of a dumb, like, line in the sand, but I'd spent a lot of money so far, and I was like, I really need to, like, pump the brakes. Finances. So it was even a little bit more personalized, and they kind of were just like, oh yes, cool, thank you, good job, offspring, way to make a blanket. And I did make a joke and tell them that if I do die before them, I will probably be haunting them through those blankets. Because I stabbed myself so many times making these blankets. I put real effort into it. My blood is literally in that blanket. I washed them, I promise. I washed them so many times. And every time I washed it, the fabric would come apart and I'd have to re-sew it, bleed on it again, wash it again, re-sew it. It was a cycle. It was a vicious cycle. Making blankets is hard. But it was really, really fun too. Like, the whole process was pretty exciting. It was a really creative endeavor, and I never noticed how creative it actually is. And the people who make these complex, like, amazing, complicated quilts, my mind is blown. I was impressed with how these turned out in the end. If you make it that far, if you just skip to the end because you want to see what they look like, do it. I was impressed with myself. I was like, wow, good job, me. I did good. That looks really cool. And I'm not gonna lie, every time I sewed something together, I'd put it on the floor and stand away from it and look and be like, I made that. Wow, I really made that. That's really cool. Go me. Sorry for the whispering. But yeah, it was a kind of wild and really fun adventure experience. I don't know if it can be too much of an adventure. I was inside all the time. And I didn't get as much video of me sewing just because I kept sitting in the weirdest ways to try and sew this stuff together. And they were not ways that would be adequate for a camera to be near me. Also, I was in like PJs and like half dressed, so it wouldn't have been appropriate to record that anyway. And I didn't want to get dressed just to do it. I was like, I'm comfortable and I'm gonna stab myself now. In a non-self-injuring way. Yay. That's a horrible joke. Why did I say that? I'm leaving it in. But it was a really fun feeling. I do have feeling, speaking of that, back in my fingertips. They went numb. Didn't know that was a side effect, but they did. I can feel things again, which is wonderful. And honestly, if I had the opportunity to make another one, I would. Maybe. It was really cool, but also painful and time consuming. And I know I could use a sewing machine to actually do the sewing things a lot quicker and get it done faster, but sewing machines are scary because that is a needle that is moving way, way faster than I can see, and I hurt myself with a needle that moved very slowly. So I don't trust it. I would probably hurt myself. And I don't like how I would have to go to the hospital for that kind of hurt, because does that mean like you sew your flesh? Does the thread go with it? I don't know how that happens, and I don't want to know. Yeah, so I think maybe I won't make a blanket for a while. I'll leave it to my mom. It was a fun experience. I do still have some fabric, so I might just give that to her if she wants to continue making blankets, which she's probably going to. Yeah, and I'll go back to drawing and doing other stuff and just seeing what I find out there that is fun to try. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching so far. Like I said, if you want to skip all my nonsense and my rambling, I tried really hard not to ramble, but it happens sometimes and I can't really help it. I tried to write a script. Sometimes I stick to it. Sometimes I go off of it. It happens. But if you made it this far, thank you. If you skipped ahead and came back, hi. How's the future? Hope it's great. And yeah, I hope the rest of your day is enjoyable and, go out there, do something creative. Except maybe be careful with sewing machines. And if you sew a blanket, learn how to use a thimble before you do the sewing part, because that might help. I still don't understand how thimbles work. Okay, I'm gonna be out. Thank you for watching, and have fun.